Good morning, and sorry about that. Somehow Instagram was frozen beyond repair. I had to start again. Hire your brain for success. This is what we have to do. The 5 P's. Just going to be a little bit more, but Instagram decided no. Hi Ezra, good morning. Instagram was acting up as usual, so I couldn't get going at the time I'm supposed to get going. And of course, I'm a minute late, but I'm fine. So how are you doing this morning? How are you feeling today? It is a wonderful day. Hi, Nancy. How are you feeling? I saw your note. I will reply after the live. So how are you guys feeling today? Instagram was a little bit chunky this morning. Maybe he didn't have enough, didn't get digestion. Maybe he brushed his teeth before he drank his water. So his digestion was out of whack. So today, I wanted to write more, but I couldn't. Hi, Tanaji, how are you? I haven't seen you for a while. Good morning, and how are you guys feeling this morning? Hi, Loretta, how are you feeling today? The morning blessings. Proper preparation prevents poor performance, the 5 P's. And some of you have heard me talk about them, and some of you hearing it for the first time. The 5 P's is something my dad taught us, and it was something growing up. He said, proper preparation prevents poor performance. Hi, Lisa. Good morning. Like my sweater? Hello, Ingrid. How are you this morning? How are you feeling today? Been a long time. I'm glad that you're feeling well. Yeah, so he said, and he drilled it, proper preparation prevents poor performance. Hi, Loretta. How are you feeling today? 5 P's, they're called. So those 5 P's are important. It is important, though, when you drill it at an early age into children's minds. I thank you, Lisa. At an early age, you begin to, mold them to realize proper preparation prevents poor performance. When we wait until they're older and we're trying to tell them how to prepare, these are the results you see in your friends. That just they're like a boat on the pond, and it has no idea where it's going. The water is rough, the water is calm, it's just sailing, and it will hit the side of the pond and it comes back again. It goes down because the water is sloping and it floats upside down, and later down the stream you find it and it's all bent and twisted and it's a waterlogged and you cannot do anything with it. That happens because there is no rule of how to behave, how to act, how to get things done, how to start, what to stay on it. I told you guys we had 10 steps leading from wherever the kitchen down to the backyard, to the ocean. And we had to scrub it. They were concrete steps and they had to be scrubbed. So out of the 10, if you had 2 or 3 or 1 you didn't clean properly, you weren't told to go back and clean that one. You was told to start again from the beginning. So that stayed in me, and I kind of drilled it into my children, and I said, you have to do this right. And I had it drilled into me. Prepare, get focused, stay in there. And sometimes people communicate with me, and I realize that there's a time they can do this, and there's a time they can just let it go. It's so easy to just stop. And it's not because of a disaster, an illness, or something that stopped them. It's only because they weren't prepared. You have been writing to become a chartered accountant for years, for example, and years and years. And when you're doing this, but you're overstudying. But that is not right. You cannot study too much that when you go to the exam, you draw a blank. Can you believe, and some of us have experienced that, how devastating it is to come to that point, you're 2 marks below passing grade, and you lost it, and you keep going. Isn't there a time you have to stop and say to yourself, how do I prepare so that I prevent this poor performance? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. I can tell it to you, you can tell it to somebody else, you can instill it in yourself and talk about it and ask others how they can do it. If you're going to, for me, it's creating, like sewing, like designing, and just taking the time. When I was actually doing designing of garments and drawing the patterns and that, my dad taught me how to see in 3D on a piece of paper, because he was an architect designing buildings, so he knew. And he trained me how to look and to see the pocket. And that is how I learned to design. But if you're going to design something, you need to know what you're doing. How do you prepare for that? I started designing, and as you guys ladies are here, you know, when you go to the store and you see people coming towards you, and you notice that the shorts are bulging between their thighs. Sometimes it's not because they're fat. It has nothing to do with the fatness of their thighs, or their thighs are rubbing together. That means their back seam needs to be longer to allow it to drop. And when it drops, you don't have the folding of that thing climbing. And as you all know, it's uncomfortable. So I found out what to do by extending the back. So you have a seam and you go like this and you extend it. So I brought it out. I clipped it in. So, and then I would fit it. Loretta can tell you, I would fit it to the person. So even if I were making something for you and it's the same design, the pants would be, or the shirt or the blouse would be designed, yes, the same style, but it would sit on you and fit you. So I had to make sure, because I didn't like to see that coming at me. So I didn't want to know I'll give somebody that type of outfit to come out at them, to go out, and that is coming at somebody else. So that was part of it. And when you learn to do something, I didn't know, and the nuns taught that to me, that when you had recipes, right? So you have your recipe. You know all what you need. So you put all your ingredients on the left of you. Your mixing bowl or your chopping board is in the middle. Whatever you're chopping and moving, and then over here on the right is the where you're going to put it, so you can either put it in the oven or bake it or on the stove. And if you do that flow, it's easy. It works because all your ingredients are there. So it's preparing though before we all know you're in the kitchen and you're, okay, I need to get salt, or if you pull the pantry drawer, something else fall because you're in a rush. How long does it take to read a recipe and to put all the ingredients, utensils on the left of you and move towards the right? When I did the stuff with grape leaves with Yuko, I taught her that. I said, you always go from left to right. And it is an easier flow. And you end up cleaning up. And then you're done. So you have to prepare. Now, that is just me with the things I love to prepare. I love to get ready. I will not come here if my bed is made. I cannot do this. It just, I maybe will be lost. Open the window and air it out until I am ready, and then I'll make it. It's important to me because I know how it feels to get into that bedroom later on and it's a mess. For me, it is not comfortable. The question I'm asking you today, what it is in your life you know that you have to apply the 5 P's to. It could be how you care for another, how you show up. When you show up, there's something that my son says to me, I don't have much empathy, but that's okay. I am stern. When you say you're going to be there at a certain time and you're coming, I expect you to be coming. If you say you're going to be late, then I relax and I wait for you. I do not want you to experience having to wonder why you're here and I am not there when you said you were going to be there. So these are little things that we can do. It makes the atmosphere a lot easier. I'm asking you again, How many times have you agreed to go to lunch with your friend and you'll meet them at the restaurant? And 40 minutes later, they come rushing in and you're sitting there and you're wondering if people are thinking that your boyfriend didn't come or your girlfriend didn't come and they left you, you're stranded. Uncomfortable. They walk in, they're rushing, they're sitting, and it's all hot. All of a sudden, everything is hot. That is not being prepared. And when we are not prepared, we cannot do well. When we prepare ourselves, no matter what we are doing, we do well. We can do it in so many different ways. But there are times we forget that, hey, I need to show up so that I am at ease. Because if you are not prepared and you're rushing, you end up going slower. If you know you have something to do, you wake up on time. There are some things we do really well. And then the other things, hi Yuko, good morning, how are you feeling today? We don't touch very well. And one of those things, if we are planning a vacation, some of us do it really good. Everything is in place. And then some of us, if we are planning our life, it's helter-skelter. Nothing is done so that it works. We are not preparing. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So you are sitting here right now, and you're certainly not 78. You might be 40, you might be 42, you might be 60, you might be 70. Are you going to wait until your body is telling you, you need to fix me, for you to fix me? What it is you can prepare for now. What can you do properly now so that you prevent poor performance in your 70s and your 80s? What is it can you do? How much time do you think it would take you to do something to properly prepare yourself to prevent poor performance in your life later on? What is that one thing? There are so many things that we can do, and they don't require hours and hours and hours. They don't. Last night, we had the seminar, the 5 Pillars of Prosperity seminar, and we were talking about being in places where the situation or the people are not aligned. And yet you go. When you come back home, you realize that was hard. Can you modify that? How do you modify it? You learn how long you want to stay. You learn how often you want to go there. And you restrict some of it so it allows you to be prepared that when you go there, you know it's a downhill situation, so you will get prepared to be in that situation just for that time, and then you move on. The physical body is not us. It's a shell. The real person lies within. How do we find the way within? We find the way within by getting to know who we are. What are our likes? What are our dislikes? When we let others make choices for us or choose for us, we are giving them the key to manage our 5 Ps. And then you'll say, that happened to me because of this person. No, it didn't. It happened to you or me because we allow that person to take the key and turn the lock on our life. And then they give us the recipe. You don't have to do this. Have you ever been doing something and somebody says to you, you shouldn't do this? Why are you doing this? You're wasting your time. And they don't know how valuable your time is, right? So find out what it is that when you do it, you know you're giving it your best. If you know you cannot do your best, that you cannot, proper preparation prevents poor performance, then you might as well don't do it. We have something called time. It's a non-renewable resource. we only have the time in the moment of now. We do not have any guarantee for what will happen at 8:30. We do not. We just have 16 right now. 16 minutes past it. This is all we have. What do we do in that time that will enhance our life so we can perform properly? I always say aging does not mean you have to be sick. You do not have to be sick because you're aging. You do not have to have broken things just because you're aging. So if you know you have perhaps a propensity for that because of family lines and DNA and all that, what do? You take steps to avoid those situations. So you don't like your weight, but you consistently do the same thing and complaining you do not like your weight. Will that change the situation for you or me? What can we do? You do not have at any age, any time of your life, to turn around and exercise for an hour. Fine if you can do it if you're in your 20s. But if you only always purposely take a walk every day, aimlessly, just a walk, make sure you have your shoes on because the longest and the biggest muscle you have is this one. And if you notice, when you're walking, your hands go, your shoulders move, your legs move. You are constantly doing that. Sometimes you see people walking and they're doing that. 10 minutes one way and 10 minutes another way. Up and down the stairs in your house is not exercise. That's movement. It's good. So going downstairs, picking something, going to the kitchen, walking out there, that's good. But being in the line of walking to improve your heart rate is preparing for your future. You are going to need to perform. We all have to keep performing. And when we find that something is not working, that is already too late. It's like water. When you are thirsty and you say, I need to drink some water, you're already dehydrated. When you have a headache at 3 p.m. and it's not a headache, it's that dull, I need a nap feeling. That's when you have to realize, hey, I'm dehydrated. And it doesn't have to be that you did anything to cause your dehydration. It could just be that 1 cup of coffee took it away. It could have been the wine last night took it away. We know for every cup of coffee, we need 2 cups of water. Every glass of wine, we need 2 cups of water. But we don't do it. And then all of a sudden, we look at our hands, our arms, and we say, oh, my skin is so dry. Of course, you are not giving it anything to keep it so it looks really nice. Add a little bit more water. Because proper preparation, you're preparing for tomorrow. You're not preparing and standing there. It's like, right, that guy with that exam thing. And you know it works when you study and you know you do not have to cram. I found out that at a certain age, your brain can only hold 1 hour of information at a time. After that, it cannot hold more. So when you push it to hold more of that information, it lets it go. It's like the sponge that you have soaking up the water, and then one day the sponge is floating in the water going downstream because it can't absorb anymore. So we need to do small incremental actions. You wake up and you, hi Colin, good morning. You haven't exercised. How are you feeling today? You haven't exercised today. And you have been wondering, hi Dawn, good morning, how are you feeling today? What should I do about that? Get down and exercise for 10 minutes. You do not have to do jumping jacks. You do not have to do squats. You do not have to do heavy duty lunges. But have you tried to touch your toe without bending your knees? And maybe on Monday, your fingers got to mid-calf. But you kept doing it all week. And then all of a sudden, on Saturday morning, your fingers got to your ankle. And that is what it is about being prepared. Small things every day. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. You have to maintain that so that when it's time to perform, you can stand up, you can sit down without the aid of pulling something in your body for somebody to push you or them for you. So when you go to the store and they tell you, here is this lounger for you, you press a button and it jumps up. Wow. So now you're depending on this machine, and the thing is that you had the audacity to spend $3,000 or more $1,000 for that thing that will lift your butt up. Whereas if you practice doing a little bit at a time, small action compounds. Yeah, it's like compound interest. You need to persistently realize that a body in motion stays in motion. They said motion is lotion. They have all kinds of things. They tell you a rolling stone gathers no moss. You know when a thing sits there and mold and moss gets on it, it doesn't look too nice, does it? So that shell we call our body, we need to take note. And because you're sitting here and maybe you're in your 30s, your 40s, it doesn't matter, I have lots of time. You have no time. The only time we have is now. Remember, we were 16 minutes past 8 is gone. We cannot repair it. For me to know what I said at that time, I have to replay this. You might have remembered. And this is why, hi Luke Catherine, good morning. How are you feeling today? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Do not wait until the 11th hour to get going. Have you noticed something in a more organized religion? When the organized religion service is to start, the priest, whatever, they show up. They don't care if there is nobody in the church but them. They begin. You know why? They made a contract with themselves that service starts at 9. When you make a contract and you say, I will be there at 10, you need to show up at 10. If you don't, and you have to make an excuse, make and say, fine, say, but don't keep that person waiting. It's not only that person you're waiting. You're keeping the energies, the universe, the gods, the angels, the saints, whoever is coming to help you get to where you desire to be. We believe that our ancestors, though they are gone, they don't leave us. The grandmother that was always there for you is not going. If you call her and you call her name, you might shiver, but she's there. So when you say, I'm going to do something, remember, the minute you open your mouth to say, I am going to do this, you have put everybody who loves you, dead or alive, on notice that you are going to be functioning. Come help me. And I always feel that we don't have time forever. No, we do not have time forever. You guys know Lynn Gowan. Lynn came to the Morning Blessings, and she's Nancy's friend. And then Lynn got a massive stroke, and she's in ICU. She's been in there for a while, for a few, more than a week maybe. But the thing I'm saying, we do not have time forever. So when we miss the time, or we do not take time in the moment to acknowledge what we are and what we are doing, and to prepare properly for later, sometimes preparing properly doesn't always mean all what I talked about. What about preparing a will? So many people are afraid to make a will. I'm going to die. If I make, men are the worst ones. You ask them to prepare a will and they think they're going to die. They only wait until they're 50 to begin really praying. Otherwise, what they got as a child is fine. But when they get to be 50, there's something that happens to them. And they decide it's time to pray. I'm going to go on my knees. And they're going to pray. You don't have a will. You need to make it. You need to create it. You need to say what you want done. It speaks after you. And it's not everything you read on the internet or Google that's an answer. somebody went to the dentist, and I'm walking in, and the dentist is very friendly, and she said that I have an infection, and my son Googled it, and he said, you should give me this antibiotic. He said, I do not take prescriptions from Dr. Google. And I just had to start laughing. You have a right to create those things. Another young lady and her boyfriend said, well, if he dies, I have power of attorney. If I go to the bank, they'll just give me the money. No, they won't. Your power of attorney dies when you die. It is part of what you would call, there's two, a living will and a will. The living will is for health. You can't speak strokes. People make decisions for you. You have to state it though. You don't state it, they cannot force the doctor to do anything. The power of attorney, you're not able to function mentally, to pay bills and to do those things and count your money. Somebody is doing this for you. So when you die, they both die. They die with you. And what kicks in is a will. So it's proper preparation. You don't want people to be fighting for what is not theirs. You want to tell us stories, Colin can tell you. I always remember the daughter-in-law and the daughter fighting for a string of pearls. This poor little Italian lady was so sweet, brought her, she always had all her stuff. And when the daughter-in-law saw the pearl, she grabbed it from the safety deposit box. The two of us, the staff, two staffs, and the two of them are there, and we're trying to just, itemize what is in the box. And, the pearl went flying all over the place. And they were real. We had to pick it up. And we don't know how many was in that string of pearls. We had no idea. 3 years later, they're renovating the branch, and they found 4 pearls. And you really wouldn't want to know the headache we had to find out and remember, and head office is involved because it has to go. So all of that, prepare, put it in writing. Who is getting this string of pearls? Just if they don't want it, they can donate it. But who is getting it? Proper preparation is an entire life situation. It's not only about your body, it's about your possessions, about your mind. You have to prepare. Honor time, because it's non-renewable, it doesn't come back. When you show up late, you're telling the energies that you do not care. You really don't care. When you say you'll do something and you do not honor it, you're saying, I don't care. And you wonder why nothing works for you. You wonder why, no matter how hard you try, you cannot get to where you desire to go. And the question is, do you abuse other people's time? Did you abuse other people's feelings about you? Are you coming to the well to get your water all the time without being grateful or showing some sort of feelings for that well? And when the well shuts down, is that when you miss the water? That happens. And you that is constantly holding your fist like this, refusing to release a little but always have this other hand waiting for, be careful. Because one of these days, there'll be nothing coming into the other hand. Prepare for a better life by remembering proper preparation of body, soul, mind, and spirit prevents poor performance in any of those. If you have something, and you guys know the parable of the dog and the bone. The dog had the bone in its mouth, and it came to a stream. When it looked in the stream, it saw a reflection of a dog with a bone, and he was going to take it. He opened his mouth to grab the bone from the reflection and lost his own bone. Birds of a feather flock together. That person has 2 birds in the bush and they have 1 in their hand. What did the little thing said at school? A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. So grabbing and always taking and wanting and blindfolding others to take from them and not turning back to reciprocate in any form is not helpful for any one of us. Prepare for a great life by preparation prevents poor performance. Clean it up. If you do not like where you're going right now and you're still alive, you have the opportunity to just clean it up, shape it up, do something about it. Be committed. Write it in your goal setting journal. I am committed to do this, to improve. It doesn't have to be a long goal, 3 sentences or 1 long sentence. I am committed to improve my health by doing this. That's all. And say what you're going to do. And you can improve your health by not letting others abuse you, by constantly coming to you for answers to solve their problems. Their lack of responsibility should not constitute an emergency for you. Remember that. People's lack of responsibility for themselves should not constitute an emergency for you. And sometimes we have to tell them that the well is empty. Your situation is not an emergency. And that is difficult. But if you continue to absorb all of that, there will come a time where you will be the sponge. You'll be too heavy to move because you've soaked up so much from so many that now you're sitting there and it's constantly pulling you up. You cannot move. They don't know. You'll die. Literally, you'll die, and they'll stand at the grave and they will look at you and say, oh, she did so much. Oh, he did so much. Oh, really, they should have taken. I always wondered why they did. Hey, you were the one draining them. So have a great day. Anyways, thank you guys for this wonderful opportunity to be with you this morning on this cold morning, 6 degrees. So that's what we're going through. So, Nancy, Yuko, Colin, Dawn, Loretta, and Tani J, thank you so much for coming. And have a wonderful morning, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow. Let me see what you guys said. Have a wonderful. Thanks, Tani J. Don came and Colin and Yuko and Small Action Compounds. You think Kathleen was, I'm going to a funeral today. I have all felt that we don't have time. No, we don't. I have a cultural shock here in Dominica regarding the time. Mañana, I come soon. Isn't that what they say? I come soon. Well, it's like a last love letter for the family. Yes, it is. It is. It is a line, a love letter. So anyway, tell somebody you love them today. Reach out to a friend and say this. I am happy and grateful you came today. I love you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.